All right, we're going to go over this homework question just because I know some folks had a question on it. And I think it was because when you first look at this question, you don't see any right angles. And so it might not be totally obvious how we're going to use our sine, cosine, or tangent. So to answer this question, first off, we do know, even though it's not given to you directly, what this angle is over here, because in a triangle, the three angles have to add up to 180 degrees. So if I just take 180 and subtract off the other two angles, the 71 and the 44, that is going to give me 65 degrees. Okay, so we actually do know that angle right there is 65 degrees. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a couple of right triangles. So I'm going to just draw a line that goes straight down and divides this into, I made a 90-degree angle right here, and I made it into two right triangles. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this side, okay? I'm going to use that right triangle that I just colored in there, and I'm going to call this side Y. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is so then I can use that to help me find side X. But let's go through and figure out what side Y is first. Okay, so we know I'm going to use the 65 degrees as my reference angle. And that means that the 12 is going to be the hypotenuse, and that Y is going to be the opposite side. So the ratio that uses those two is sine. So the sine of 65 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, or Y over 12. And how do we solve that? Well, I want to get the Y by itself, so I'm going to do the inverse operation, multiplying by 12, which cancels those out. And then I'm going to multiply this side by 12. And so once I'll stick that into my calculator, and Y ends up being approximately, if I round it to three significant figures, 10.9 millimeters. All right, now I figured out Y, but that's not what this question's asking for. The question's asking for X, or this side. Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other side of the other side of this. I'm going to use this right triangle, because now I can change and I can use the 44 degrees as my reference angle. In this case, let's go ahead and I'm going to erase that Y, and I'm just going to replace it, because now I know that that side is 10.9. And it's still, if I'm using 44 degrees, that's still the opposite side. And then the X is the hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine again. So I'm going to use the sine of 44 degrees is equal to 10.9 over X. This is a little different than the first problem in that I'm going to take two steps to solve it. So that I'm going to first off multiply both sides by X. Multiply both sides by X. And that's going to get rid of the X on the right side. And the second step is I need to get the X by itself. So let me rewrite this. X sine 44 degrees is equal to 10.9. And then I need to divide both sides by the sine of 44 degrees. That's going to isolate the X, because those are going to cancel out. And if I take 10.9 divided by the sine of 44 degrees, that is going to give me, and again, I'm going to round it to three significant figures, approximately 15.7 millimeters. And so that is going to be my answer for question 2.